Hey, for those of you who are just tuning into this new site, thank you for tuning into the National Resistance. I know the graphics in the background are kind of lame. Actually, I just sort of drew it out on a piece of paper and scanned it into my computer, and that's where it's gone so far. I'm sure something more fancy will come along. I might change it altogether. But anyway, why I started this site? Well, the primary reason for me starting this site is to be more of an informative site for the Patriots, because most of us know what's coming. Anyway, you should have linked over to this site from my other site, which is my Bubba site. I know it's kind of hard to understand why the old name Bubba. That's very confusing. Well, when I started off on YouTube, I really didn't plan on too many making any videos or too many people actually watching my videos. Well, a lot of people have watched my videos, so I figured I sort of streamlined them a little bit, and I'm making this site along those lines of it's more easily to remember. National resistance. Who can forget that? Anyway, that's sort of what we're starting here. We're starting a national resistance movement. Everybody's in it in one form or another, no matter what kind of militia or patriot group you belong to. We're all in it, and this is one of those sites where we can all get together and discuss things. So email me here or message me, and we'll talk about a lot of different things. Now, I'm still going to do the bunker reports. Oh, don't you kid yourself that I won't. But on this site, they'll probably be posted on here. They might not. But we're going to get intimate on this site. We're really going to start getting down to the meat of this situation and what you need to do to get ready. Okay, I've mentioned it on my other site, so let's get down to it with Martin and his new shotgun video. Hopefully I'll be able to post it here. I'm going to try to leave a link above my head. He goes over everything you need to know about shotguns. Watch it. Very informative. I mean, I know, most of you have no idea what to buy for your first firearm. Again, I recommend the shotgun. Why? Not only can you defend your home with it, but you can also put dinner on the table. And that's very important. I know some of you don't like firearms. Some of you are into bows and arrows and different methods like that. Hey, that's great. Whatever you're into and whatever you feel comfortable with. Good friend of mine, he's not too good at putting a bullet in a bullseye at any range. But you give him a good compound bow or even a long bow. At 100 yards, he can pop holes in quarters. I've never seen anything like it. So I really want him on my side, because when you don't want to make any noise, he's the guy you go to. We're going to need tons of those people. So if you're good with that, go for it. Keep with what you're good at. I know there's another guy that subscribes to my channels. He's really good. In fact, I think he's a former master sergeant, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, he's really good at throwing knives. I mean, this guy throws knives and axes and hatchets. He can throw anything and hit the target. You definitely want this type of guy in your movement. If you've got friends like that, and if you're that kind of person, that's great. Don't worry about a firearm. You just keep with what you're good at. We're going to need you, man. Anyway, that's the point here. We all have got our own individual ways of defending ourselves, our own individual ways of doing things. And if we all kind of communicate and get together and get some ideas together, we might be able to learn from one another. Now, I've talked about, let's see, on my other side, I've talked about napalm. If you forget how to make that, it's very simple. You get a little container of gasoline, whatever container you use, however much gasoline. I suggest starting off with a minor amount. Now, there's videos on YouTube, and I've linked to them on my other site that you can actually look under homemade napalm. You'll see tons of different videos. Anyway, you dip styrofoam into the gasoline, put a little piece at a time, and it will dissolve in gasoline. Well, eventually, it reaches the consistency of like a gelatin, but not quite a gelatin. Sometimes it's a disgusting color, and it smells bad, even when it's not on fire. But anyway, the idea is to get this type of gelatiny material. Now, I haven't seen on the internet yet is people actually using it in a Molotov cocktail type device. What I recommend doing is, if you're going to use this in that type of device, get a mason jar. I mean, they're kind of wide mouth, and spoon it into a mason jar. I think that probably would be the best bet. And get yourself a little rag as a fuse, douse it and put a little bit of lighter fluid on it, and use, punch a hole in the top of the mason jar lid and feed that rag through there. That would be the best way, I think, to use that if you're going to use it in defensive purposes. Hey, if the world goes crazy, man, and the country goes crazy and everybody's rioting, you don't know what you're going to need to defend yourself with. You might not have time to get a firearm. You just might run out of ammunition. I mean, it could get pretty bad. And, a lot of people say, well, they're going to deploy troops on the street. And yes, they are. It is going to be a martial law situation. But you know what? They may have enough troops, they might not. And when you get out in the countryside, it might be a little thin. So, you have a lot of rioting people coming into your area, your home, into your property looking for food or whatever, and ready just to decimate your house. You're really going to have to defend yourself. And that's really what you're going to run into at first. And some of you, that's all you're going to run into is that type of mob. So you're going to have to come up with some pretty good ideas on how to defend yourself. I always hold out hope that it really isn't going to get that bad. We always hold out hope that it's not going to turn into rioting. But you know what? The Illuminati, they've planned for this kind of stuff. And usually most stuff they plan for actually comes around. I mean, unless we wake up the majority of the population real quick, and unless all our elected representatives suddenly decide that they're going to do the right thing by the people, if that happens, we'll be okay. We'll avoid all this. But if none of that happens, we're still going down the same train track, and the destination still looks the same to me. And that's economic collapse and rioting in the streets. I hope Americans will pull together, and maybe it won't be that bad. Man, we got to do something. You got to start thinking about this kind of stuff. You can't just keep sitting on your butts anymore and just pretend it's not going to happen, because you're going to have to prepare. Now, I know some of us won't be able to gather enough food. I don't think no matter how much food we gather, it's ever going to be enough. So you're going to have to learn these hunting techniques. You're going to have to learn how to trap a little bit. You're going to have to learn how to hunt in an economic depression. You're just going to have to learn these skills. And fire a shotgun's a good way to do that. A lot of you can trap. You can learn how to make homemade traps. There's videos about that. I'll see if I can't find a few and post them in some of my favorite sections. Well, anyway, I think I might be coming close to my 10 minutes, and maybe I'm not. I haven't really kept track of all this. So I'll kind of leave it at that right now. Again, thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk a lot about different things, and maybe I'll change this graphic. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But let's all keep our heads up and keep a smile on your face, man. Don't let all this stuff get you down all the time. I know it's kind of bad. I know it really gets on you talking about it all the time. And I know it weighs on your mind a lot. It weighs on mine a lot. But we've got to keep a stiff upper lip, and we'll come through this okay. All right? Thank you for tuning in.